Hello guys and welcome to Football Fandom UK. How are you guys doing? So today I am bringing you a video with regards to the Scottish leagues and what's going on up in Scotland. I did briefly mention it the other day on the last video, but I've done a bit of research and I've found that a club statement's been released by Dundee United with relation to what's going on. And it looks like it could have a massive impact on all Scottish clubs from what I'm reading and some of the other stuff I've been reading as well. I've pinpointed this because it kind of sums up the whole situation. So I'm going to quickly read through it, guys. It released by Dundee United, and obviously, like I say, it's very relevant to all Scottish clubs and all Scottish football. So I'll quickly go over it, and then obviously we'll discuss it a little bit more. And obviously you guys can leave your comments because I'd love to know what you guys in Scotland that support Scottish clubs think, because this is quite surprising. Some of you guys might be aware of it already. I was aware of it myself, but I didn't know that it was affecting so many clubs. So here we go, guys. So it says, on the day that the SPFL has released the Premiership fixtures for 2020-21 season, which is scheduled to start on the 1st of August, instead of looking forward and planning for the forthcoming season, the executive team and board at the club are embroiled in preparation work for the SFA arbitration process that starts this week in respect of the action raised by Hearts of Midlothian and Partick Thistle. As confirmed in our joint statement on Friday, we, along with Raith Rovers and Cove Rangers, were pleased with Lord Clark's decision to refer the dispute to the arbitrators. Excuse me, guys, couldn't get my tongue around that then. However, we remain incensed that we are having to devote considerable time and incur significant legal costs in defending this action. Together, we have already incurred costs of up to £50,000 and face further legal fees for the arbitration process that could take the total bill to over £150,000. Given the seriousness of the financial implications of these escalating legal costs for Raith Rovers and Cove Rangers and ourselves, the three clubs have considered withdrawing from the arbitration process and allowing the expert panel of arbitraries to judge the case raised by Hearts of Midlothian and Partick Thistle without any submission from us in defence of our case. However, we believe, and our external legal advisors have confirmed the same, that there is too much at stake to not defend our position against the Hearts of Midlothian and Partick Thistle petition, which is seeking to reverse a decision that was made by 81% of the SPFL member clubs. If successful in their action, in our opinion, Hearts of Midlothian and Partick Thistle would compromise the sporting integrity of the SPFL, with clubs having been declared champions of their league not being promoted, having won the championship by a considerable margin and investing substantial sums of money in preparation for next season in the Premiership. A decision to overturn the SPFL resolution that was supported by 34 of 42 member clubs would be ruinous for us and our fans. Hearts of Midlothian and Partick Thistle could also be awarded significant sums in terms of compensation. Their compensation claim is for a total of £10 million. For the SPFL and its member clubs, this would have potential catastrophic consequences, with any compensation payment made to Hearts of Midlothian and Partick Thistle being paid directly out of SPFL funds that are distributed to all clubs each season as prize money. It is with these facts in mind that, along with Raith Rovers and Cove Rangers, we are reaching out to our fellow member clubs for support in defending this action, which has not only potentially grave consequences for us, but every SPFL club. We also intend running a crowdfunding campaign to raise money to help fund the huge legal bills that we have faced We hope that, as well as our own supporters, fans of clubs across Scotland will see this as a worthy cause to get behind, in that if Hearts of Midlothian and Partick Thistle are successful in their action, it could have serious ramifications for the whole of Scottish football. So there you go, guys. That is some statement. It's definitely well, Dundee United are well within the rights to release that statement. Under normal circumstances, I would be all for clubs challenging the SPFL, because I do believe that the Scottish League is in dire need of proper management, because I don't think that the people running the SPFL have always got all clubs' best interests at heart. And I know that some Scottish fans feel the same way. But in this particular case, obviously because of the financial implications of coronavirus, this is just absolutely selfish by Hearts and Partick Thistle, in my opinion. I do not want to criticise them too much, because obviously, like I say, that they do have a right to challenge. But the fact that so many clubs voted to just accept it and get on with it, and these two clubs seem to have sour grapes. If we actually look at the league standings, Partick Thistle did have potential to get out of the relegation zone, because if you actually look at the points, Alloa Athletic were in 8th position, so Partick Thistle were like 5 points behind. But then when you look at the last 5 games, they got 4 draws and 1 defeat. So, it's typical relegation results, if you like, because there's not, in the last 5 results, there's no win. And if we look at Hearts, the same, it's so similar. They had, in their last 6 games, 1 win. That says it all, guys. 1 win in 6 games. That's relegation form as well. So I totally understand where Hearts and Partick Thistle's frustration comes from. But when they're taking a legal standpoint with regards to it, and it potentially could affect all Scottish clubs further down the line financially, with obviously the current situation with coronavirus and many Scottish clubs facing, massive financial implications because of the virus, it just seems very selfish of Hearts and Partick Thistle to do this. Like Dundee was saying, they've made preparations. They've been investing money in preparation for being promoted. They looked like they were getting promoted for quite some time whilst the season was still being played. So obviously they've been planning for quite some time for obviously being promoted back to the Premiership. And obviously, like I say, to me it just seems like Hearts and Partick Thistle have got sour grapes through the fact that they've not been able to finish the season and try and fight themselves out of it. And I totally understand it. I totally understand that any club would want the opportunity to fight themselves out of relegation. But we're not facing normal circumstances, guys. Nobody could plan for coronavirus. Everybody and every business and every football club has been affected by the coronavirus. So, everybody else is having to get on with it. Big companies, small companies, little businesses, everybody. Some businesses have completely gone out of business because of the virus. So, does it make any sense whatsoever for Hearts and Partick Thistle to take this to court or to take it to arbitration or whatever it's going, wherever it's going, where it's going to potentially cost money to other Scottish clubs? For example, clubs have already lost money because they didn't get to play out the season. So they've lost revenue through not having the remainder of the fixtures played and not having fans in the stadium to generate revenue. Then we've got the start of the new season coming, and obviously it's looking like no fans are going to be allowed in the stadium for the start of the new season. So obviously clubs across Scotland and England and Wales, all across, are obviously going to have a significant dent in their finances with the fact that they're not allowed to have fans in the ground. But they're having to get on with it. Every club is having to get on with it. You've got businesses that are having to adjust to this situation. People, everyday lives are being affected by the coronavirus. So this just seems, like I said, I've said it twice already, it just seems like sour grapes from Partick Thistle and Hearts, because there is absolutely no consideration for the rest of Scottish football, the fact that they're prepared to drag this through the courts. And obviously, you know, if it was just a one-on-one battle with Hearts and the SPFL, or Partick Thistle and the SPFL, fine, no problem. But this is not a one-off battle. This is a battle that's potentially going to drag every other club into it and affect every other Scottish club financially. And it's just not acceptable. I just think it's an absolute disgrace. And obviously, you guys that are Scottish fans will be well aware of what the Hearts owner has been doing, and some of the statements that she's been coming out with, and some of the behaviours she's been conducting herself with. It's just shocking, absolutely shocking. No regard for the rest of the Scottish division, and it's just not acceptable. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below, because obviously this is something that could really, really damage Scottish football, and not just in the short term. It could damage Scottish football for the next 2-3 seasons to come, to the extent that we could even see some Scottish clubs potentially go into administration if they can't get the usual finances that they would expect, shall we say, from prize money, etc., and obviously generating revenue from fans being in the ground. Clubs are really up against it. We're already seeing it with the likes of Dundee, who are already in serious financial trouble because of the coronavirus. So what sense does it make for two clubs in Scotland to drag this case through the court system or arbitration system that is going to affect potentially every other Scottish club? It's just, it's not right. It's completely out of order. And I think they should just drop it. Me personally, I think it should just be dropped, and they should just accept what's happened. It's beyond everybody's control. Like I say, I am not a big fan of the people that run the SPFL. I think they're an absolute disgrace with the way that they can sometimes run the Scottish leagues. But this is not a normal situation we find ourselves in. Nobody could plan for the coronavirus. No club had a clue it was coming. People didn't have a clue it was coming. The SPFL, in fairness, they didn't know it was coming. So how can you plan for that? How can you adjust your thinking and plan for that when you don't know it's coming? So like I said, guys, it just seems like, you know, Hearts and Partick Thistle are just being very, very selfish with their attitude towards this, and I'm showing absolutely no regard for the other clubs in Scotland. So yeah, guys, I really would love to know what your thoughts are on this, because this is a very, very serious issue, and it, like I say, it could have implications right across the Scottish leagues for the short term and the long term. So there you go, guys. I've brought you my thoughts on it, and I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Drop your comments below, and I will definitely be interested to see what you guys have got to say about it. Thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully you join me on a future videos, and look after yourself. Stay safe out there, guys. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.